welcome back to the Blindsiders. I am Ben. I'm here with Dylan and Brian to talk about episode number 2 of Survivor 46. And the worst has happened for me. I have now 2 seasons in a row, 3 if you technically include BB25, picked the second boot for the season as my winner pick. So
apologies to whoever Ben selects BB26 draft.
And so yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, hopefully I can break the streak in BB26 and or in Survivor 47 in the fall.
Who's your BB Can winner pick?
Well, I mean, I'm only watching the season for Anthony Douglas, and I'm like barely following it. So like, I guess Anthony. But it would surprise me if he's the second boot. Right. Spoiler alert for any BB Can 12 people, but he's the first HOH.
All right. So I mean, tough draw for Jess. What can you say? Never really got her feet under her, I feel. And I don't know. Dylan, how did you feel about it? I don't want to get too into it yet. I'll let Dylan speak first.
Yeah, tough. She stunk at Survivor. No other way to put it. That's okay. Not everybody is the greatest Survivor player ever. I have a deep fear that that'll be me when I go on. That I'm just scared to play the game. That I lollygag and walk around during challenges. She's just not a good player. Doesn't have to be any more than that. Doesn't mean she should be treated like garbage. Doesn't mean she should be hailed as the early boot queen like they do for everybody every season. Yeah, she stunk, and they probably would have won had they kept Jelensky because they needed a tall person for this challenge. But I think they got rid of their 2 worst players, so it's only up from here, right?
Well, we'll see about
surprising given that Bonnie was in this.
Yeah. Right.
I agree. Good.
Just a tribe where nobody trusts each other 4 days in already.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I tweeted it out basically. This is Lulu if none of them were likable. I think
I came out of last episode liking them a lot, but I agree. I think we got a tribe of some bullies and some very emotional people left in the game, which is great for viewership, I think. But
yeah. No, look, I'm a Succession fan. I will watch the shit out of a TV show that consists of only people I hate. Like, it's it can be very compelling TV. There's already a lot of I feel like this happens way too often, but I feel like there's already a lot of Gabon comparisons. There were Gabon comparisons in the preseason.
So
I took one. I feel like everyone's just jonesing for another Gabon, and they're just like trying to force it. But I mean, one of the hallmarks of that season was like pretty much everybody on that cast was just like despicable. That you just hated all of them, and you're just like happy every single episode because somebody else you hated was getting voted off.
Yeah, no, I mean, I took one look at this cast and heard them all speak when they're meeting me, and I was like, yeah, this is another Gabon. These people are insane. Which is one, and they're proving to be insane. Even players like Q, who I thought were not going to be that insane, kind of insane. So love it from that aspect. Don't know who the Bob Crowley is of this cast. We'll see. My biggest hope is that it is like Gabon, where we got rid of, was it Michelle and Jillian of the season? Now let's start taking out people who should not be voted off pre-merge. Episode 3 of Gabon was the first tribe swap, right? I think.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's when we got.
Just because it's historically unbalanced because of the schoolyard pick, which they have never gone back to since Gabon ruined it. Which love that season even more for that. But I doubt we're gonna get a swap anytime soon. So that kind of like puts that potential of like people who would make the merge on a normal season, not making the merge down a little bit. But I do think there's something here. I know we're gonna get like a tribe swap into 2, but that'd be really nice. I feel like to just have a lot of people who have not gone to tribal council, like one tribe of people who hate each other but are stuck with each other, one tribe who seem to like each other. Switch it all up, add in the bad vibes from Yanu. I think we could, you got a stew going there if you add all those ingredients together. But yeah, I think this is a very interesting episode to me because it spread a lot of light on some of Jeff Probst's pregame stuff that he was saying. Like, we're not going to cast villains anymore. I'm guessing this is the tip of the iceberg of the douchebaggery to come for this season. Do you guys agree with that?
Well, what is the timeline on this? Does he say that before or after the season filmed?
He said that on a podcast just a couple weeks ago
Okay.
on RHAP. Yeah.
Okay, so you think this is a response to 46, and he's like, "Man, we really cast way too many villains," and he's like expecting the cast to be hated, and like doesn't really see that as a positive.
I think so. I think Jeff's very like, you can tell how he feels about the cast of a season, like based on how he talks about, like the season and the stuff that he said, like the season's vicious, and then he said that they're not going to cast villains anymore. Presumably it's because this season a lot of people do some like underhanded and perhaps even just kind of cruel things to one another.
Amazing. I hope.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Dylan. I hope.
We're already seeing some like schoolyard bullying going on out there. Like, let's up the ante. Let somebody start stealing things from each other. Let's start. We already have Soda just stealing idols from everybody. Let's keep the ball going.
And Soda, the special ed teacher, slamming Q down just like immediately when he has that food taste.
What was that?
It was like boo-hoo.
That was
boo-hoo
mental warfare. Is Soda like my new favorite player? I can't.
Right? It's so good. It's so fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jeff might not like it, but I feel we might be eating on this season.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, right? I said before on this podcast, like, people conflate villains with like people who are like not good people, like in real life. Like nobody's doing anything like bigoted or racist or anything like that. To me, that's the line. Anything like if you're just being rude or mean or an asshole, like that's good TV for me.
Yep. Agreed.
Totally agree.
Totally agree. Or like conniving, like that type of thing. Saying your grandmother's dead, like that's the stuff we need to bring back.
I agree. I mean, I just think like people are just in their feelings too much, and like Jeff, I kind of was hard on you, but you're right. People can't handle the slightest bit of villainy anymore. Mm-hmm. It's so sad.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was rooting for Jess. She was my winner pick. I obviously did not want to see her go out this way. But like the episode was still enjoyable. Like it's fun to like root against Yanu now. Like I'm hoping that none of them win. Like I'm basically like all in on Maria because she's the only player on the season that I have positive feelings about right now. But it's like that's fun, right? Like I have like somebody that I have a rooting interest in now. I have people that I'm rooting against, and like I said with Gabon. Happy every episode because somebody you don't like is getting eliminated. Like I feel like that just makes it a better product, right? Like if you have 80% of the cast you like, every episode you're going to be like, man, I can't, I'm so mad that X person got eliminated. Everyone was like, oh, I'm so mad that Kelly got eliminated. I'm so mad that Emily got eliminated, right? If you hate everyone, then you're just having a good time. You're just enjoying the ride, and then every episode ends with a bang where somebody you dislike is having their dreams crushed, and you get to laugh at them.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better.
I will say the first half of the episode I didn't enjoy as much. I thought the first half was a little bit of a snooze fest. I think everything post challenge was great, but I do agree with some people online that this might have been a good, like, let's keep it at 90 minute stops. I think the 2 hours, that extra half hour, I think dragged a little bit here. But the final hour, everything post challenge was great. Very, very, very entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, definitely a good example of like a single boot. That's not a premiere where you're trying to introduce every single player. Can just be 90 minutes. That's the sweet spot. I mean, listen, as much as I love watching two guys name song titles, a little unnecessary.
Yeah. I mean, it was a cute scene, but it could have been half the length.
Yeah, they definitely are just like,
definitely
do we
felt
have
like
anything? Yeah, there's just like, do we have anything to show? Yeah.
I think the highlights for me for this episode outside of Vanu, is that how you say the tribe? Yanu, was Venus just like begging for a fight after the challenge, after like your team came in first and did a great job begging. It gave us the amazing montage of Soda stealing the idol from her each time they had won it. I thought that was great. There's one more off the top of my head that I'm forgetting, but yeah, everything outside of that, just a lot of filler. I actually really didn't care for the whole Metallica thing. I thought that dragged on way too long, like I said. And I was at a point last night too. I didn't finish the back-to-back weeks now. I've only did the first hour, then I skipped into the second hour the next day. I thought the first hour was a snooze fest, but that's fine. I'm still in good graces with them for last season with how well they did all the pacing, all that. And it seems like we got all the ammo there, at least for most tribes. I mean, we haven't spent a whole lot of time with Green Tribe. I'm not good with the tribe names this season. We haven't spent a whole lot of time with them yet. So, I mean, we'll see if there's entertainment to be had there. It seems like we're getting a little bit more next week in some of the trailers with them. But I'm still 2 thumbs up. I really hope that we do really go down that villain path. That'll be great. I think that the game's still done a good job of staying out of its own way to this point, which is something we've begged. And I mean, if we're going to get more villainy, then that's great for us. So 2 thumbs up still. I'm all aboard. Very, very excited. I really love my Tevin pick. I think he's very strong. He shows himself that he's at least he's not a quitter in these challenges. I think his social game's there. Seems very well liked. I like that pick a lot now, as opposed to when we first went into the season. So 2 thumbs up. I don't love. I'll be pissed if Tevin, like, this is what we had last season. Tevin's doing great, and then all of a sudden, Hugh just somehow makes it the final 3 and Brian wins again. So,
I mean, I agree that the with the song scene dragging on for too long, but I would definitely prefer to have an extra 5 minutes of Charlie and Ben naming songs than a trip to Advantage Island where they play a rigged game for episode 2. So that's kind of where I'm at. The other scene that I liked in this episode was like the Charlie and Maria kind of Malcolm and Denise 2.0 scene. It seems like that's kind of really the only major strategy we got from that tribe, even through 2 episodes. Like, we kind of got the Charlie's Angel stuff, and it seems like a lot of the strategy is being filtered through Charlie and also Maria to a degree. So yeah, from that tribe, I think that so far those are the 2 key players, and that's kind of why I have my eye on Maria right now. So yeah, no, I agree. And then the Venus stuff, I agree, was very. I don't know. I guess we can start there because, like Dylan said, there wasn't a ton before the challenge that was really super pertinent. What was your thoughts on like the Venus getting her toe run over, and then Soda like barely pretending to care, and then Venus complaining, and then Soda going to Tevin and being like, hey, this bitch is complaining about nothing. Like, when can we get rid of her, please?
Yeah, that was, I mean, you feel bad for her. She maybe has found a friend in this episode, but more a friend of convenience because it definitely doesn't seem like either of them naturally gravitated toward one another. But yeah, I mean, I don't ever understand this like compulsion that people have to like be like, oh, this person's not in any of our long-term plans, so we're gonna just kind of ostracize them. And I mean, we saw this literally blow up horribly for Bello last season with Katora. So like, I mean, obviously this cast didn't get to see that, but like, I don't know, Aaron and Tocantins or Sierra and Tocantins, you know, like you don't ostracize members of your tribe until you absolutely are voting them off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. And that's kind of like, I would say, the major flaw in Tevin and Soda's game right now, for sure, is not putting any effort in to like making Randon or Venus feel good. And they're doing what I've always wanted people who are very clearly the 5th and 6th in their tribe to do, which is instead of like trying to throw each other under the bus, be like, hey, let's team up and try to like flip this so that, you know, we're not just like banking on not losing challenges. Because Randon finds the Beware advantage the first half of it. Obviously he can't find the second half if and until they, you know, lose the challenge, which they haven't. They've come in first 3 times in a row.
Possible miscalculation on production's part of this purple tribe will never win a challenge, and so the other tribes can't get access to their idols.
I mean, maybe it's good. Oh,
maybe.
Do you think that it's kind of like a trend too of the new era seasons too, of like maybe not having that food and that flame the first, you know, however many days. I think that very clearly really does ends up affecting us. How many has it been every season? The first tribe to lose has been the one to lose the second immunity challenge.
I don't remember if it's every, but like
seems like it.
This is like we talked about it, you know, on 41, like before it, like it's just a snowball effect in these small tribes where it's like you lose, you don't have, you know, food and water, you're losing a person, so everything gets harder. And then you have to do more challenges against people who are a little bit more rested, and it just compiles on itself. And another reason why I just hate the 3 tribe. I guess it's fine, like if it comes every now and then, but I just like don't love it if it's the standard for Survivor, you know.
Yeah, and it's not even new per se. Like it happened to Saboga, it happened to Matt Singh, it happened to Luzon. Like it's not like a new era issue. This is like a 3 tribe issue.
Yeah.
So it is hard, and I think like I said at the top of the show though, it couldn't happen to a better tribe. So I'm not like super upset.
Yeah. I even think just like, you know, the strategy of it wears on people. So like you are more tired, like just from having to actually play the game. No one else on the other tribes are really playing the game yet. You know?
Yeah.
That's the other scene that stuck out to me was Liz yelling during the challenges. And like I think I yelled "shut up" on my TV like 3 or 4 times. And I'm reading the Survivor Reddit, which I don't go on. Somebody said I'm 90% sure Liz is some type of scammer. She's a grifter. She sells courses. Yes, that's what I thought too. I was thinking, do you really call a lot of really old people and ask for their money? And then, yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's the kind of behavior I expect from grifters and scammers in that challenge. That was crazy. I have her in my family pool too, so I'm rooting for Liz. But holy shit!
That'd be so funny if her ex-husband came out and was like, "I'm not threatened by women making more money than me. I'm threatened by her stealing from the elderly. I don't like that."
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of red flags from Liz, and it is. I have to assume that the Tevin Soda Hunter trio are just looking at her like easy final 3 go. Like, please, let's just drag her to the end and win. Because there's no logical reason why you would vote off Randon or Venus over her, from my perspective. Like, how the hell? Like, I'm not like a huge Randon fan. I think he played this episode pretty well, and we can talk about his decision after this. But like, there's no logical reason in my mind where I'm living on a beach with Randon and Venus and being like, man, I got to get them out before Liz. It just has to be because they're like seen as bigger threats, or like maybe Venus is actually more annoying than Liz somehow in real life, and it's not just coming through on TV. But it's just perplexing to me that she's just not like the consensus boot.
Another comment that we're not going to turn this into like a bit of like reading Reddit comments, but
just ask Reddit. Survivor ask Reddit.
That this episode's a test.
My female 23 tribe mate, man 45, offered me an advantage to be in alliance with them.
This episode was a test to see if we could all handle villains on Survivor or not. And from the reactions on this subreddit, not so much.
Yeah, categorically, we cannot.
Which is true. I mean, I do wonder. I wonder where the like disconnect came, because especially because you two are, I would consider, old school Survivor viewers, where it seems like that a majority of maybe the majority of the vocal people on social media want the kind and loving super fan Survivor, and then you have like the old school, like the old school people of the original that want that bloodshed, they want the nastiest people possible. I wonder where that like change came from, because I generally don't think that there's a whole lot of like newer Survivor people coming in that have like that mindset where they just want everybody to get along. I don't think that that's happening. I feel like that. So at some point in Survivor, that fandom like shifted to they want everybody to be the super fan, nobody to be nasty, everybody to get along. And I get why that's nice, like viewership wise, but like I'm begging for I've been saying it for 2 or 3 years now. I'm begging for another villain season. And I was so bummed when we saw Jeff like the day before we started recording, that he said no villains. And like I said, I do think maybe potentially it's just like the loud minority on social media that maybe think that way. But it is interesting because I'm reading through a lot of like the comments on this Reddit of basically saying like this, like the Survivor shouldn't be played this way with being mean. And like I get the bullying aspect, like same time it was interesting. I do feel bad for Jess, but like I wouldn't have changed anything.
I mean, the game is about social isolation. Like, there's literally like an element of like that's a strategy in the game. Is to like, so like we see this especially on Big Brother in real time, as we can watch it on the feeds. It's a lot easier without having an edited product. Like people will socially isolate the person that they want to vote out and just like let them, wallow in loneliness. Like, it's a very regular strategy. Like, it's not like these are not nice games, right? You can dress it up as a family show, but the underlying structure of the game is like it's very mean spirited. It's not nice, and I would actually I will push back against the fan base being worse now. Like, the fan base was, in my opinion, way worse back in the day. It's just that we have rose-colored glasses on. We have like Jerry Manthe at the Australia reunion getting booed off the stage because she was seen as a villain for like, not really any legitimate reason. Like, Jerry didn't even do anything super villainous in Australian Outback. She was just snarky. You know what I mean? Like, she was just snarky and like said some like rude comments a couple of times. Like, that's what we're categorizing as a villain worthy of being booed off the stage, being referenced in Scary Movie 3 as that's kind of where the zeitgeist was then. I think the fan base is considerably tamer now. It's just that there's way more outlets now for people's voices and complaints to be heard because social media is way more prominent.
Well, back then too, it's probably more of a gender thing too, of like, oh God, a woman being nasty. This is the humanity. Let's go back to that guy being a complete piece of shit.
I mean, people hated Richard too, but I agree as well for sure that it's definitely heightened when it's a woman.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like different, but I do think it's just omnipresent because of Twitter and because of Reddit and like the people, and there's a big element of like stan culture now with these social medias, and like, well, the person I love can be mean and shitty, but if anyone's mean and shitty to the person I love, they're a piece of shit. And it's just like, honestly, they're on reality television. They're all pieces of shit. Like, you don't go on reality television because you're like a great, well-adjusted human being. You go on it because you either want clout or you want $1 million, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like, there shouldn't be like holding these people up to a standard of like playing this nice, clean game, because no one ever has, and it's so much worse in Big Brother because you can see it all happening. And I think they're not like evil people, but they're trying to win a lot of money, a life-changing amount of money.
Some of them are pretty bad people in real life, but for the most part,
some of them are bad people. And we usually find out about that, afterwards. But like, I think people need to just enjoy the show and not give a shit about these people outside of the show. Just like take a breath and like watch it as just a television show. But secondly, like, this is part of the storytelling mechanism of a television show. There needs to be villains because there needs to be heroes. And some people are going to be the villains either because they're playing, a villainous role on purpose, or because the narrative needs it. And if you film somebody for like 24 hours a day, they're gonna say something that you can put into a clip that makes them sound like an asshole. And it's like, that's perfect. We'll put that. We want this person to be that. Same as all the people who are nice and heroes. They're just being shown the nice things because they're, the narrative hero for that season. So like, people just not take it that seriously and just enjoy the ride. Like, I mean, I like the villains also, so maybe I'm like biased in that I'm like, I don't hold it against anybody. I actually like kind of enjoy, watching people be shitty to each other. As we've said, Gabon's my favorite season. I love how like shitty people are to each other in that. And like, the original concept of this game was like, what would people do for $1 million? And some people will be shitty for $1 million. What, like Twyla said, this is $1 million. People have killed people for less money than that. So like, I'm sorry if people are being a little rude,
Somebody said, I swear there's a gas leak on Purple Beach.
I mean, yeah,
I do think that Banu probably needs to seek psychiatric help after the season, but that's beside the point.
Yeah. I do. That's hilarious. I do think there's like a thing where it's like, this might make me sound bad, but I'm just gonna go for it. Therapy is very good, and you should go to therapy if you feel like you need it. There's some people who go to therapy and kind of let therapy define their life. And like, that's fine. But you also like, I don't know how to put it. I feel like sometimes people who go to therapy come out more narcissistic than before. And then I feel like they carry these like bad things from the wrong takeaways from therapy into their regular life. And it's just like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people like that work in corporate America. And then a lot of the people who get cast on Survivor now are from that group of people. And that's why we have like people like crying on day 4 of Survivor, because this like legitimately is like a earth-shattering thing to be camping out on a beach for a few days. Does that make sense?
That's like my biggest thing about newer seasons too. There are people cry so early in these seasons now, and I don't know. I don't know if like maybe people have always been crying, they just didn't show it on earlier in seasons. But like everybody's crying now in the first like 2 episodes. I'm like, and I understand it's frustrating not eating. Like I'd be upset if I haven't eaten for a day. Like maybe not eating, like you're trying to adjust to the climate and stuff. But like we're like 4 days in, we're already having like mental breakdowns.
It's definitely an overwhelming experience, I think, for sure.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
I think like we've a little bit as a culture become like a group of people who frame everything through their own self-actualization rather than like, this is a fun thing to do. We're like, this is a monumental moment in my life and my journey of self-discovery. It's like, it's a reality TV show.
I do think also everything we're talking about is probably a very, very accurate reflection of like the current generation too, of like people breaking down very, very easily, people kind of like focusing on the wrong things at this point in the game. Like I think that's all very accurate depiction of people that are our age at this point.
I mean, you know, my take from what I was thinking about, especially with some of the Liz stuff in the last episode. I think part of the issue is that $1 million is not enough anymore. I think that if they doubled the prize, it would be better. And because $1 million is not enough anymore, the show is getting more people applying for the experience than the money.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah,
Big Tom said that on All Stars. He said that he told his family, if any of you die, don't call me until the season's over. I don't feel like we get that anymore. And maybe that was just a different type of person. Big Tom, for a lot of reasons, is a person of a very different era. But, like, that's such a good point, Ben. Because there are people who cannot afford to take the time off, who would take the time out, would quit their job if it was a $2 million prize or like a $2.5 million prize.
Yep.
Whatever inflation, equal.
I think 2 million is fine. I think 2 million is fine. Yeah.
It's just not worth it. Yeah. To the majority of people who are just like afraid to lose their job at any given moment.
It's obviously $1 million before taxes, right?
Yeah, before Obama takes his cut.
Richard Hatch, obviously, before taxes.
Shout out Erica for not having to pay taxes because game show winnings.
I wonder if you live in Florida or Texas, if like you have to pay taxes for income tax, right? No, it doesn't matter if you're overseas. I don't know how all that works.
I don't know.
It might go to California because where the production companies.
I wonder how that works. That's a really good point. Honestly, I think that like this is like our big like meta deep dive into the mental part of Survivor and its players. I think that's a really good point. You tell someone $1 million in 2000, like you're losing your shit. Tell someone $1 million now, the very first thing to me is like taxes and like I can maybe make that last for a couple of years.
Right. Yeah, I'm not quitting my job or anything drastic. I'm trying to invest it wisely and hopefully grow it.
Yeah,
I can maybe use half of it. Yeah, I can use half of that to put a down payment on a house, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. I just did an inflation calculator and just the first one on Google. In 2000, $1 million is the equivalent of 1.791 million. So yeah, 2 million would be a perfect prize amount nowadays.
Winners at War was 2 million, right?
Yep. So they have it. They can do it. Like, obviously Winners at War is like a season they probably planned on investing more into regardless. But like the funds are hypothetically there.
I mean, CBS, like what other shows do you got right now? Ghosts?
Survivor's the number one show on cable right now. It's been the number one show for like 5 years now.
It makes it so fucked up that it's like getting cheaper. They're cutting every corner possible while still being the top show.
That's once again a meta outlook on the world. I think the rich continue to get richer, and they cut costs for the lower end.
Yeah, I think like the original like vision of Survivor that Mark Burnett had was that it was like a spectacle on itself, right? Like it's not just this game; it's this grand adventure. And now it feels like we've shrunk down to it's just like this game in this one place, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, I agree. I think that can be basically every issue with Survivor these days can probably be traced back.
You know what? That's why Dune 2 is so popular, because that's a fucking spectacle movie. You know, like we need more spectacle. I feel like people get excited for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why Game of Thrones was so big, even when it got bad.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I mean, yeah. Don't go on Survivor to self-actualize, is what we're saying. Go on Survivor because you want to win $1 million. It would legitimately piss me off though if I was on the beach and somebody's like, I don't actually need this money. I'm like, well, then you can go to Ponderosa then, because I do need this money.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that makes it less intriguing to go now? Is that mentality? And I kind of wonder too, because I like if we go back to Yano for a second, I do still feel like that players like Q and Kenzie and Tiffany are I do think that they're there to play to win the game. And I'm not saying that like everybody else there isn't. Do you think that that's like maybe the frustrating part of you? Because if we go back to the game itself, I actually liked the door that Q was opening for himself to be able to kind of, he almost had the perfect card to silently play Jess with that fake idol. While also, like, if anything blew up, you can just say, hey, what do you mean? This was part of the plan with the fake idol. We're going to convince her to use it so she doesn't play the shot in the dark. I thought the way that he was playing it was perfect up until we had the issue with Banu coming into the fold and just kind of like completely losing his mind and blowing it all up. I liked what Q was doing there. Do you think that it's like frustrating to go in there and play it? Because I feel like maybe 10 years ago, that move doesn't blow up like it does now, where you have someone completely just mentally break down and freak out because they think that they're being ostracized and not even like considering the game as a whole. Like, do you think it makes it less intriguing to want to go on and play Survivor now, knowing that potentially these are the people that you may have to be dealing with more? And not only that, the game is cut short in half. The adventure challenge aspect of it isn't there like it used to be. Like, do you consider yourself wanting to go on more now than you did 10, 15 years ago?
I mean, 10, 15 years ago, how old? I was like 15.
Well, yeah, I guess take the underage part out of it.
But at 15, there's probably nothing in the world I wanted more than to go on Survivor.
Yeah, I mean, I applied for Survivor my first time when I was 18. So like,
I don't think an 18-year-old Brian would have done great on Survivor, but I wanted to be there very badly. I've certainly like gotten less inclined to go on Survivor as Survivor's become not the Survivor that I originally loved. I still love it. I still get excited to watch it. Don't get me wrong. I would actually rather go on Australian Survivor because it feels more like the original version of Survivor that I really enjoyed. But I do also like get what you're saying, Dylan, where it's like you go on Survivor, it is like everybody has like the super fan mindset, knowledge set. Everyone's like working it, and it's like that is a lot less interesting than people who you wouldn't necessarily know how they're going to play when they step on the beach. And granted, it doesn't always work out. Like Bono's losing it, and he's not going to probably be playing optimally. But I also feel like he's losing it a little because he can feel the game kind of like slipping through his hands in a way, you know?
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I've said on the podcast that at this point I would rather go on Big Brother than Survivor. Part of that is just because I don't like I'm aware of what Survivor can do to your body long term, and I don't necessarily want to like destroy my body permanently for $1 million, so that I probably wouldn't even win, even though I do feel confident that I could do okay on Survivor. And I think that Big Brother is 750K now. Like, the time is definitely less of a thing for me than like the torture on my body. I feel like I feel like I could live in a house in isolation way easier than on a beach. So I don't know. For those reasons, I would definitely still rather go on Big Brother. And I think the game is more interesting. I think the game of Big Brother is more suited to my like personality type and my like game, type or whatever. So yeah, I mean, I would probably if like I don't know, if the Survivor fairy came to me and was like, do you want to go on Survivor 48? I'd be like, yeah, fuck yeah, you can put me on the beach. But I'm not actively applying.
Yeah, I mean, I did send in a tape. I didn't get called, so I don't have to worry about me missing any shows. But yeah, didn't get called yet. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Jeff's waiting. He's like, we got to make him wait for it. I really want it, but no, I do get what you're saying too, Ben. Like, Big Brother is like probably easier on your body and more interesting, for sure. But I just think, like, I don't know. I think the thing for me is that it's just like too many of the same personality type, or too many of the same like meta game mindset, to where it's like, it's not that interesting anymore. There's just not. It's like any like multiplayer game where like the first few, maybe even months, you're like, this is so cool, this is so exciting, everyone's learning anything, and then there's just like 18 million YouTube videos of like, you only use this weapon, like current meta build, and everyone just plays that way, and you're like, okay, well, it's not interesting anymore. What is there to discover about Survivor anymore?
I mean, people are still playing badly, so like obviously, like all of the studying and knowledge is not helping when you have Kenzie nearly fumbling like an unlosable position for no reason.
Yeah, I did think it was very funny that both Kenzie and Q considered the possibility of flipping with Jess and Banu. Both talked to them, and both were like, yeah, no, never mind.
Well, yeah, but that's okay. See, this is why I'm like, yeah, Jess is that Survivor, but like she also is in a completely impossible position where the only way that she could break the majority is if there was like one other marginally competent person that she could attach herself to, but that person had to be Banu, and Banu is a psychopath who doesn't even understand what the fuck is going on. So like she just had no outs at all.
I think honestly, Jess from that tribe maybe towards like the bottom of who I thought had a bad night compared to the rest of the tribe, which is crazy because she got voted out. But like I feel like we saw like some games kind of like unravel just like right there in front of our eyes, which was crazy. Like I said last week.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say last week I was super high on Q, super high on Tiffany. Like I thought that this tribe was going to be fine, maybe potentially after we got rid of Jelensky. But I don't know. I mean, in the end, I think part of Q2 realizing it was the wrong move, maybe getting rid of Jelensky instead of Jess, strictly for stuff like this, early challenges of getting on. I wonder
more than anyone else is on Q.
Do you think narratively? Do you think Jeff sees Jelensky get eliminated and is like, you know what? Let's fuck it. Let's throw that challenge out there tomorrow.
I do think it's
we know they'll struggle.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past production for being like, wow, this can be run with 5 people. So let's just put it out there.
Like it was supposed to be on episode 3 or 4, and they just like swapped it around.
Yeah, why not? I mean, I do think it was a challenge that they probably had to do soon, just because of how it worked. But I did think it was very funny that not only did Jelensky, he would have excelled at this, but then during it, the tribe was doing bad, and they were yelling at Jess, their like smallest tribe member. Like, Jess, what the fuck? Why are you carrying these blocks?
Okay, the worst was Tiffany dropped blocks and knocked blocks out of Jess's hands, and then Jess was the one to get yelled at for it.
Of course.
And I'm like looking at my screen, I'm like, Tiffany's the one who dropped them. What are you guys blind and stupid? Like, what are we doing here?
It's very unfortunate where we've either all been in that group or been that person where like you're just the scapegoat for everybody to get mad at and throw all the blame on.
Mm-hmm.
We've either all been there or unfortunately all participated in it. And it sucks to watch, but yeah, that's exactly what happened. Like,
there's literally nothing she could have done in that challenge. Like, the only thing you can put Jess on in that challenge is like the side that's like the smallest, and just be like, just hold a few blocks there. She's just not tall enough to do it. It like, what can you do?
Yeah. But yeah, no, as far as Yanu as a tribe, I think Tiffany is still in a great spot. Like I don't think from an edit perspective any of them are winning, but I mean Tiffany is basically guaranteed to make the merge with an idol, with the only idol currently in the game. If Yanu keeps losing and the other two tribes can't fulfill their Beware advantages and there's no swap, like even if Tiffany only makes the merge with herself and Q or herself and Kenzie, whoever she decides to go with, they're in an okay spot to potentially be swing votes, especially if you have people like Venus and Randon who are raring to flip, especially if you have like the potential split happening on Siga, or like Charlie and Maria are like rearing up to play hard. Like there's a lot of movement that's something that Tiffany could do there. So I don't know.
It does seem like that Q and Tiffany are relatively loyal to each other. I think she had no reason to have to tell Q about Kenzie if asking if she's her number one, if she wasn't more loyal to Q. So I guess like overall, I agree. I'd like Tiffany the most, but I still like Q in a second. That is interesting. It's an interesting dynamic to watch though. The like vying for who's number one between Q and Kenzie. I think that could be cool pending when we get a swap.
Yeah, and it makes sense. Like they didn't show us Tiffany talking to Q about Kenzie for no reason, right? Like they want us to take away that Tiffany is close to Q in a way that she's not to Kenzie, because she's not telling Kenzie stuff that Q said to her about Kenzie, right? So
yeah, agreed.
So it will be interesting to see. Like you said, Ben, it just doesn't feel like any of them can come back from this episode to be a satisfying winner, right? Like you can come back from being like bad at Survivor. It's hard to come back from being portrayed as like an asshole.
Yeah.
Not impossible, but difficult.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, compare like the entirety of Yanu to like Emily Flippin, right? Like it's a totally different vibe.
Yeah.
I think it's the smugness too of going out of your way to do the fake idol, even though like I understand the reasoning for it, and I don't even hate the reasoning for it. But when you very clearly have the numbers to just go out of your way to be an asshole about it, I think that's probably where people are like, this sucks. Like it's not even like you're going out of your way to do this. You're hiding behind it, saying it's strategy, but like in the end, I think they were just doing it because they didn't like Jess.
I agree to a degree, but this has also happened before in like positions where it was like way less strategically relevant to do. Like I think the way they did it was like unnecessarily mean, but like doing it at all, like I understand the strategy behind it because you have this shot in the dark. And from their perspective, like they haven't seen 45, they don't know, they haven't seen the shot in the dark yet, so they're coming into the season being like, man, the shot in the dark is bound to hit one of these days, or hot hand fallacy or whatever.
Yeah, right.
So I understand like your options are basically to like make people like blindside somebody, right? So they're essentially like they can't blindside Jess because it's so obvious she's 5 out of 5 because their alliance is very obvious, and then Banu can't keep his mouth shut about anything. So the only way to actually blindside her would be to make her think she has an idol, and if she thinks that the idol is real, at a higher rate than 1 out of 6, then it's correct for her to play it and not use her shot in the dark. So,
yeah, Jeff, when we were making the what is it, the Plinko board to do shot in the dark, like much more interesting. I think we could get a lot. We could have the production crew bring it to like light up with flames if you hit it. I'm just throwing some stuff out there.
You can even do that. There's like D&D like dice towers, right? Where you put the dice in the top and it like does a Plinko board thing and they come out the bottom. The shot in the dark is supposed to be a die, even though it's not actually used as a die. Like,
why not just go up and be like, I would like to place my bet on 6, Jeff, and then put it in a Survivor dice tower. That'd be more exciting. I don't know. Just a scroll. You know?
Do we think we get the introductions back next week, or is that officially dead again?
The intro, I think it's here for this. Yeah, for as long as we have 90 minutes, I'm sure it'll be.
We haven't gotten the first 2 episodes, right? Have we?
Yeah, we did. We got it this episode.
I told you I was completely out of it.
Yeah, they just they aren't doing it in the premiere anymore because they want to just like jump right into the show. But for the last 2 seasons, we've had it every other episode besides the premiere.
Yeah, that was so funny last season when they hyped it up and then didn't show it in the premiere. Classic Survivor, classic props, keeping us on our toes. I do think too that speaking of like intros, the previously on Survivor without Jeff narrating is very jarring to me. I don't know about you guys. I was like, we're just getting clips, and the clips are great. They tell the story, but like, I don't know. I miss Jeff priming me with the narrative that the show's trying to sell.
Yeah, it is a lot easier for you to read the edit when Jeff is like hitting you over the head with it in the previously ons.
Yeah. Go watch Survivor Samoa for more on how you're supposed to feel about the season. Yeah, or Survivor One World.
There's a lot of examples. There's a lot.
Yeah, or like I think like episode 2, like Kim and the rest of the girls formed like this alliance. It's like, oh, okay. I guess Kim's gonna be important. Oh man. But yeah, it's just something that I thought of when Dylan brought up the intro. Of like how jarring that was last night to not have Jeff walk me through it. Yeah, I guess what else for this?
Okay, we kind of like skated over it, but what were you guys' thoughts on Randon telling Venus about the board advantage? That's like the one thing we haven't really covered.
I mean, good. He, I think, correctly figured out like I may not be 6th, but I'm certainly not any higher than 5th on this tribe. So, you know, I perhaps unfairly judged Venus and pigeonholed her as like a savvy strategist, which like maybe she will be one day, but we have no proof that she is at all. So, you know, I think
there's a ton of evidence she's not. She's done a lot of bad things, and she's socially isolated. So, like, not first Parvati, arguably one of the best social players in the history of the show. You know, not a really accurate assessment.
Yeah,
she is.
The difference between. Sorry, you got on.
Yeah, she is an attractive female, so she's automatically Parvati 2.0.
The difference between Parvati and all like the women who've been like accused of being her is like, you'll never feel that way about Parvati because she won't let you feel that way about her. You know what I mean? Like, that's why she's so good. Because even on Heroes versus Villains, the villains knew they shouldn't trust Parvati, but she was able to work her way in there and, you know, charm the right people and eventually take over the tribe.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like, that's the thing. Like, the next Parvati, if you ever go on Survivor, you will, and you're on the season with the next Parvati, you won't know it until it's much too late.
Yeah, I mean, arguably, you know, I know D got a lot of Parvati comparisons. I think that's a much fairer comparison.
Much better. Yeah, much better. Because no one No one saw her until it was way too late.
Mm-hmm.
Even those that did see her couldn't act on it.
They did nothing about it, and in fact, actively bolstered her game for no apparent reason.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, hopefully she's doing good on the On Fire podcast. She took over for Devins. I heard.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't listened to that show in a very long time, but
yeah.
How did we not get the call for that job? That's
we have to be on the show. Jeff needs the player perspective.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
Also, I think you guys complain way too much. Absolutely not. You got to toe the party line here.
So was Devins taken off for a reason, or are we gonna
I think they're doing a new Survivor each time.
Oh, okay.
So it was.
I didn't know he was only second season of this.
Third season and second season of players being a part of it.
Okay. All right. So before it was just Jeff talking
Jeff and two producers.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "Oh, a podcast really doesn't work with one voice." And
it was more like Jeff was like, I don't really want to do a whole podcast every week, so I will do 1 5-minute segment, and then you can talk to a former player.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Like I said, I've listened to exactly 0 seconds of this On Fire podcast. So
Jeff was like, I have come to realize that doing a podcast is completely debasing myself, and I will not be participating in that anymore. Yeah. And honestly, fair and correct for him. He had a talk show at one point. He doesn't need to be down here in the trenches with us.
Yeah, so I didn't want to I was running through in my head conspiracy theories Devins wants to get off of us because he's anticipating Second Chances 2 season 50 and he doesn't want to be the guy on the podcast talking to Jeff.
That makes sense. But I think I do think it, because we talked about it a little bit in the past, the worry of the new era people getting forgotten. I do think Devins, by doing this, helps him. I mean, they're going to bring back Rick Devins, right?
Devins and then maybe Angelina are the two pre-40 people that would get called for Second Chances 2, in my opinion.
Which I think is fair. I like Devins. I know people aren't the highest on him because, got voted off 4th or whatever, and then won his way back. But I do think he was a fun narrator and character on his season.
Devin, somebody who got lauded by the fans for pointlessly making a fake idol just to humiliate somebody. So,
okay,
inconsistent fans.
Yeah,
that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, that just fucking ate you all up. Actually, that's such a good point.
Yeah, he did it in the final, in the finale, when it literally didn't matter at all, and he was just doing it to entertain himself.
After someone trying to humiliate him with a fake idol too, but he was too good at finding them for it to matter. So, yeah, I don't think he fell out of favor with Probst or anything.
Not a villain, apparently.
No, he's a news reporter. I don't think he does that anymore, but he was.
I don't know. I haven't followed his off. Until it was brought up, I wasn't even aware that he had done the On Fire podcast.
I'm sorry, this is such a Rick Devins tangent, but on the On Fire podcast, Jeff said that before COVID happened, there was a plan to expand on the fire tokens and bring Rick Devins to the show to be like a shopkeep that players go to and trade their fire tokens for trinkets and stuff. So Jeff loves Rick Devins, is what I'm saying.
He's in the Cochrane zone, Cochrane and Game Changers,
Yeah, exactly.
You go to a yacht and Cochrane's there with an advantage menu.
Yeah, that on steroids. He would have been part of the season altogether. Which brings me to my next point that I texted Ben about earlier. With all these fake idols and stuff, and then the idols looking like shit, so nobody knows if they're real or not, do we need to have a former player be out there and run like a Survivor pawn shop that can authenticate idols for these players. Because like, I think it's one thing to give someone a fake idol. I think it's shitty that they're allowed to give them with the paper in it. And I've said that before, but I think the fake idol bluff has to come with an element of bluffing the player without the help of production. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think we've already gone way past this now. You know, we had
the genie's so out of the bottle.
Yeah,
but like, it still, you know, bothers me that they're allowed to wrap it in the rules. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's literally no way to know whether the idol is real or not if it like is coming with the official production rules that tells you, hey, this is an idol. It's like, okay, I mean, production is telling me it's an idol, right? Like I gotta believe it. Like, you know, I think in this episode it wasn't that bad because, you know, Q was handing it to her as opposed to like hiding it and her finding it, which obviously that failed. So I think that's fine. But yeah, I agree. I think re-hiding idols in the same place that you found them, where you just like do like a fucking swapperoo, where you just take fake idol, replace it with the real idol, and put the whole thing back. It's like, no, I don't know. I feel like when you play the idol, you have to have the rules on you as well. Might be a way to counteract that.
Yeah, and honestly, you have to get back to making these idols look good because this is so ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well,
you know, we've seen Bob Crowley's idol in person. It looks great, even after being in the fire. Like, I get why Randy fell for that idol. Now there's just no heart in it. You know,
okay, but
I cut some beads off of a water bottle.
They clearly want people to like think that fake idols are real and real idols are fake, given that they introduced a mechanic where they had two identical looking idols in the game 3 times, where one was real and one was fake each time. It's like they literally are handing people ready-made fake idols that look identical to real idols that are also in the game. They know what they're doing. And they want it to happen. I don't want it to happen, but like this is clearly the path that production wants to take with idols.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's like, you know, as much as you don't want it to happen, production wants it to happen that much or more.
Mm-hmm.
It's like fighting a completely losing battle here.
Yeah. I mean, look, there has been times in the past, like China comes to mind, right, where, you know, you have Jamie Dugan thinking that like a plaque is an idol because the real idol is also a plaque, but it's a plaque that says this is a hidden immunity idol on it. And she tries to play it, and the whole thing is like happens completely incidentally. Like production didn't really set that up or expect that to happen. None of the players really set that up or expected it to happen. It just kind of happened naturally. She saw James had one of the real idols. I was like, hey, maybe this is another real idol here. Might as well try it out. I think that's a lot more interesting.
Or Adam trying to play the podium because it looked like the idols.
Sure. That's like super fan brain rot, Australian Survivor, you know.
No, South African Survivor is where
that's South African. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That is like
the
levels of like
yeah.
super fan brain rot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Poor Adam.
We've gone on way much of a tangent here, too much.
Yeah. I think it's fine. Oh, Dylan, you're muted.
So we hit our quota of one an episode. Sorry, I'm like losing it.
Yeah. That was more than one. That was like 4 tangents in one.
A branching, tangent.
Anything else? Anything else we can talk about?
That's it. Banu's freak out at Tribal.
Yeah, picking up his stuff to go with 1 vote cast against him.
Yeah.
And just the quote of the night of don't make the block hot. Right?
That was great. Yeah, that was great.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said it on Twitter should have been the episode title. I agree.
That or Remedial Clown School. Yeah, both better than the actual title of the episode.
Yeah,
No,
I just think it's just tough. He's a complete loose cannon. I don't really know how you can play with someone like that.
I think other than that, we covered everything. My hope going into next week is just better pacing. It was like, now that I'm thinking about it, like I said, I was not into that first hour, but they really turned it around the second hour. So I just hope, a lot more of the good stuff next week. So that's my hope. But I'm still, like I said, 2 thumbs up. I'm still enjoying the season.
Yeah, I think with 90 minutes coming back, the pacing will fix itself. This was like completely an issue with it being 2 hours. Yeah,
easier for us too. I get sleepy by the end of the episode. I'm like, oh,
Amazing Race is starting for me, so I'm
not for you.
Hours, yeah.
Wow, good luck. Are
That's
there any
a lot.
Big Brother players on it this season?
No, but there's this is the season that filmed 2 years ago, and they put in the can and they released them out of order.
That's so fucked up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they filmed in 2002.
Or 2022.
Yeah. What did I say?
2002.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, that's
hilarious.
no, that's 2022.
Hilarious.
But there's speculation that the next season, Taylor and what's his name is on?
Swift, Travis Kelce.
No, Taylor Hale and Joseph.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, who are now broken up, but at the time we're dating.
Oh wait, did they filmed another season?
Yes.
Okay.
There's another season in the can that filmed like, I don't know, a few months ago or something like that.
Okay, that's
so
good to know.
Presumably that'll air in the fall.
We're verging on the territory of like that Survivor conspiracy, that the second season of Survivor was so like shitty that they filmed it and scrapped it and filmed another season.
Yeah.
And then like released it as Thailand a few years later. You guys ever heard that conspiracy theory? Yeah. Love it. Possibly my all-time favorite conspiracy theory ever, including like real conspiracy theories, just because it's so insane. But like, I hope the winners of this season of The Amazing Race got their check cut sooner than like when.
I don't think they do. I think
that's fucked.
I think you only get the money after a film or after it airs.
That's what I thought too. If I won $1 million in 2002 and CBS was like, we're not giving it to you for 2 years, I would be very upset.
That would suck. All I would think about is not dying. Like way more than
yeah.
Like the regular.
Yeah, CBS was like, you can die. That's sad, but yeah.
I don't know how it works. We got into like tax law and stuff on this podcast. I don't know how the state system would work in that in an instance, but leaving my future Amazing Race money to X person.
Yeah.
Not my partner. They're not getting the full $1 million. Yeah.
Oh man, that's so crazy though. I didn't realize that season was still in the can. I figured that season was the season that just aired recently.
Yeah, so the reason was because the season that aired in the fall was filmed with 90-minute episodes in mind. And so this is the argument they made. This is not my argument. And so it was easier for them to edit it quickly into episodes, whereas this season was filmed with only 60-minute episodes in mind. And so they had to put more effort in the editing bay into crafting the narrative into 90-minute episodes. That's the argument they made.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Big Brother's doing hour-long episodes 3 times a week.
Look,
is it the best editing in the world? No, definitely not. But they're turning it around in like a few days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's what I've heard. I mean, the cast looks okay from what I've seen. We'll see how it is in a week. And then if Jailer are on the season in the fall, that's really fun. I'm a Taylor Hale stan, so yeah.
I look forward to the cultural references from 2022 coming back to this season and be like, oh yeah, that was a thing.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to what I really want, I want Taylor Hale to win Amazing Race, and then I want her to go on the Traders and win that. And then
she'd be great on the Traders.
Yeah, I think she's the best Big Brother player on the board right now to get, who's like realistic.
Yeah, agreed. I will always hold out hope for Vanessa Rousseau, but she's done with reality TV. She doesn't need it.
She has twin toddlers.
That's the thing. The Traders is so short. It's like maybe she can come out of retirement for that. But we gotta go watch the Traders right now. So I think we're done with this episode.
Yep, we're already a half hour in, so I'm gonna have to put it on Peacock and try not to see spoilers.
Right.
Listen, I was getting worried we were gonna squeeze out like 15 minutes for this episode. Here we are, an hour, and almost an hour and a half later.
Well, I mean, look, the episode was 2 hours of a lot of fluff, so we also had to match it by having a really long podcast with a lot of fluff in it. So
very true.
Yeah, we're the best at that.
Yeah, we're professionals at filling time.
Yeah, professional podcast fluffers, which is different than this is this is episode 63 of the Blindsiders.
3 episodes of fluff.
Oh, we're gonna get to episode 69 in this season. That's fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a big
finale, or is that like an episode or two before the finale? Maybe
6 more episodes after this, so it'll probably be like middle of the merge.
Mid-merge. Yeah.
Nothing special about that time other than episode 69. That's monumental. Most podcasts get like 2 or 3 episodes and then stop. Mm-hmm. And I know that because I've hosted a lot of podcasts that have done 2 or 3 episodes and then stopped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, many of them with me.
we'll finish the Lost recap show someday, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
surely.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up before we go on another tangent.
We're actually just waiting for me to grow my hair out so I could cosplay as Hurley for the whole time of that podcast. All right, Dylan, where can they find you online? What do you want to promote? Floor is yours.
DJ Clubberlang on X, and DJ Clubberlang on Twitch. Eventually, when I stream there, when I figure it out, I figured my capture card. I had it all figured out. And then
give me a call this weekend.
Let's
try to help you troubleshoot over the
PlayStation with all their bullshit restrictions and stuff. It's a mess.
It's confusing.
We'll be there. We're gonna stream. Helldivers. We're gonna start getting some skits out. I'm gonna start streaming. I'm gonna do my Dark Urge build on Baldur's Gate 3 that I've been purposely waiting to do just on a stream. So a lot of fun stuff there. And then obviously we'll keep doing Survivor.
Yeah. Ben, maybe we can stream some stuff too on the channel. I mean, you used to be like the main streamer for the
channel. Burnt out. Streaming a lot of fun, but it's also very mentally taxing.
Yes. But if we do some stuff, at least come on while I'm doing stuff with me and play some games. I think
shoot the shit. Maybe I'll play Overwatch 2 again at some point. I don't know.
Oh yes, you should. It's really fun. I think it's still good. Pay to win-ish now with the way the battle pass works, and you have to purchase it to get the newer heroes. But that's fine.
I mean, it's not either way, so it doesn't matter.
That's how I feel too. I'm gonna fucking suck, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Instant locking Soldier 76 every time. But so. Ben, where can they find you? Anything you want to promote?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, technically at Ben Sharon. I've gone on. I've tweeted 1 tweet per Survivor episode so far, but I try to keep that out through the season. Mm-hmm. That's basically been
really good this week. I retweeted it.
Yeah, it's basically been the extent of my my use of Twitter. I go on, I log on, I see if anybody says anything interesting. I get depressed. I tweet out 1 thing about Survivor, and then I don't go on for another week.
And no one ever says anything interesting. So
right. Yeah. You can follow me on Twitter at @theFakeBMR, BMARR. I tweeted. I thought it was going to be a banger with Liz and Maria on the bench. I tweeted that photo of Elizabeth Warren shaking hands with that girl who looked exactly like her. I was like, them on the bench together, got 2 likes immediately. I was like, this is about to pop, and that was it. Elon shut me down from that. So yeah, you can follow me there. Mostly right now, I'm playing Helldivers, streaming it a bit. I made a new TikTok just for stream clips. That was WGE was live is the TikTok, so go follow it there. You know, when Ben and Dylan join me for stuff, I'll be clipping it and putting it on there as well. And yeah, other than that, we can get we can get everything pretty much everywhere. You can find us. So
nice slogan.
Yeah. So other than that, thank you so much for listening. We will see you in the next one.